Today, day 271, we have a sub-2 hybrid deal. So what does that mean? A subject-to deal is when you buy a property subject to the existing financing, which means that you're not assuming the underlying loan, you are taking over the payments for the underlying loan. Now, it's a hybrid deal because there is also a seller finance piece to it, meaning the purchase price includes underlying mortgage. In this case, let's see what that number was. There's a $150,000 loan, but this seller wants to finance the rest because they want to maximize the purchase price that they're selling the deal for. So they're going to loan the buyer $119,000, 135 at 0% interest rate for the first year. Then it goes to 1%, 2%, and 3%. So I'm just going to underwrite this at 3% because that's really the stabilized monthly PITI. So I'll put that in there, and this balloons in 10 years. It's 730-34. Okay. So now that we got these details down, let me look up this property really quick. Oops. Let me use address. Okay, here's a property. Oh, this looks pretty nice. It looks relatively turnkey. 1 bed, 2 beds, 3 bedrooms. Okay, in an HOA. All right. HOA 525. That is expensive. Let's see. Was that covered in the write-up? Yeah, there's HOA, and they include in this monthly payment in there. Okay. All right. That's helpful. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add up all these numbers here, and we're going to put in the purchase price. So now that I know the property is relatively turnkey, I'm just going to assume that there's going to be some very, very light touch-up paint. So I'm going to go to my rehab calculator really quick. I'll keep the toilets, changing the high-pressure flush hose, but I'm going to assume that there's no flooring work needed. Maybe there's just a little bit of touch-up paint somewhere, so I'll keep $300 there just in case. In case there shouldn't be any landscaping because you're part of the HOA. And then I'm assuming it's part of a common roof, so there's no roof repairs either. So what does that lead me to? A rehab? Where's the money coming from? Oh yeah, no foundation issues. There we go. So now I got roughly about $1,500 of rehab on this property. All right, that's probably pretty turnkey for the most part. All right, now the purchase price is going to be $310,310. Plug that right in. For our rent, how we're going to determine our rent? So we're going to go. Let's see what county this is in. The St. Louis City. So we're going to go to Google HUD FMR. Click on the first link at the very top. After you get there, you go click on Access Small Area FMRs. Look up FY 2024 FMRs. Select the state that you're in. And then you select the city, and this was St. Louis City, not St. Louis County. And now you're going to get the zip code for this deal, and this zip code is 63108. And you're going to see that the rent ceiling here for a 3-bed is 63108, and that's 2250. Okay, 2250. The 4-bed is 2620. 2620. All right, that was 63108. 63108. All right. Okay. So now that you got these numbers in here, what we want to do next is this. We want to see what the monthly income rents are for this property. And we're going to look at the market rent next. So when you go to affordablehousing.com, you go to the owner section, go to the market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in the bank account, you're going to get the market rent here. And it says right here for 25 units within a 0.25 mile radius, that's a real small radius, it's 2268. 2268. So that gives me pretty good confidence that I'll probably get around like $2,200 for this property. And then my 3-bedroom is 1719. City is 1683. Zip is 2413. All right. Let's just learn the market. Let's see if there's a big uptick for a 4-bedroom. 2480. That's pretty much in line with what I'm seeing for rent ceiling here. So those are pretty good rents. 1946. However, it's going to depend on the deal, right? 1987. All right, now that I got all these details in there, I'm going to underwrite this deal at 2,200 because if the rent ceiling is 2,250, chances are with utilities, that's usually including utilities, so you probably got to knock it down to like 2,150, right? Now, let's go and plug in our details here. So for this deal, what's our entry fee? Let's pull up my Word document. And this is a $13,000 purchase price, $40,000 entry fee. What is the entry fee made of? $30,000 to the seller or the agent. So $30,000. And then you got $10,000 times. So $30,000 to the seller, $10,000 for the agent. There is no money in arrears. I'm assuming about 2.5% closing costs on the deal. Renovation 1440. And here's your PITI breakdown. Let's plug in the numbers there. So the loan is 150,865. 150,865. And interest rate is 3%. And then the start date is going to be 10/1/2021. 10/1/2021. And I did that by just subtracting 30 years from the maturity date of the underlying loan. Okay. Now there's a secondary loan. So I'm going to put in right here 119,135, 119,135. And even though it's a 0% interest rate for the first year, I'm going to put in 3% right here. Okay. Because it's going to get up there anyways at year 3. All right. So this is going to be slightly complicated because they disclose the total payment at $1,952, but that includes your HOA. So right now the seller carry as $330. $330 is $502. Why is that? This is over 30 years, but they're going to balloon in 10. All right, and that balloon there in 10. Start date in 7/30/2024. So I'm just going to calculate this total monthly payment right now for this property. Seller carry at 330. Why is that? Oh, it's 330 because of no interest. So I'm going to bump it up with interest. That's why. All right, so here we go. I'm going to zero this out so that I can calculate what my escrow amount is, right? That's all I'm doing right now. So they're saying the total amount is 1952. So I'm going to go to the property tax section right here. You go to 1952. I'm going to subtract my principal, my interest, and my principal amount of the underlying loan. So the first two cells are the principal interest of the underlying loan, the conventional one I'm taking over subject to. The 330 is the seller finance piece. So the rest of this amount at 985 is going to be the amount that is going to set aside for property taxes and insurance. Okay. And because I'm assuming someone's living there as a prime resident, I'm going to add $30 here for actual insurance. Now, here's what you need to pay attention to. All right, I'm going to write 985 right here as hard coded. Okay. I'm going to type in 985 because I just calculated this 985. I'm going to take out the formula here. Then I'm going to go back to my funding loan amount and put in 3% because that's truly what we're going to see in 3 years, right? You might want to bump up your cash flow to like 2,200 maybe rates will stay consistent, but then your rental rates might continue to grow up like $100 maybe a year or something like that. That's okay. Well, if you get to 2,200, what's that going to get you? All right, so now you have 985, $30 in insurance. Set aside 10% for your maintenance every single month. You get 10% for your property management. You got 5% for your vacancy because someone always moves out, right? Don't forget, maintenance is right there, right? You really have to set aside money because there's something that's going to break in your apartment at some point or not. That money does not belong to you, so that's why this is why I harp on this factor so much. All right. So now that you got maintenance in there, you got $503 of cash flow, negative cash flow. So you rent this property out for 2,200 right now. Let's just assume this is the year 3 rate ish, right? You'll still be losing $503 even though you increase the rent because you're losing. Because the interest rate goes up to 3% by that time. And that is a negative 12.3% return. That's, of course, assuming you purchase this property at $310,000. Okay. And that's assuming your rehab is only $1,500, which isn't much at all. Now, if you believe this area is going to continue appreciating, hey, this might be a good deal for you. But again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. Just simply telling you all the work that I'm doing every single day to get building the reps. Okay. Now, let's go to year 1, okay? If you load was $0, right? I kept 985 the same because I hard coded it, right? That's why I didn't change. I'm gonna go back down to 2150, just lowering the rent a little bit. You'll still be losing $369 a month. And that's because one, you load the rent because it's year one, not year three, but still you're losing money because of the amount of monthly payments that you have on this deal. And it's just getting closer so that after expenses, right, you gotta have expenses in there. It might look like a positive cash flow deal. You just look at this deal and say, hey, okay, my monthly payment is 1952 and my long term rental is 2349. If that's what's been disclosed to you and that's what you truly believe, you might think you're making money, right? But then you take out some expenses of property management, some vacancy and maintenance, and now you're in the red. So these are all the items that you got to be wary of when you are underwriting these deals, especially if they're creative finance, especially if you think that it's a cash flowing deal, but you cannot underwrite them without these expenses. And that's where a lot of people get caught. They don't do a good job underwriting. They don't put in expense assumptions. They kind of just assume the best of the best scenario. And that's definitely not the case in real estate. Rarely ever. I probably only heard this once where someone's like, hey, I was on time, on budget, everything went so smooth. I probably only heard that once in my career, having met a bunch of real estate investors already. So it's definitely the exception, not the rule. All right. So I hope you all have an amazing day. Hopefully this was a effective um, overview of how we analyze a sub-2 hybrid deal, just because it's a little bit more complicated because there's two financing pieces involved in the deal. But you saw how we kind of just broke it down in terms of we just got to get the details here for the loan, and then we got to get the details for the secondary loan for the seller finance piece. But then we just plug in all these numbers, and then we just figured out, okay, in year one, what does that look like? In year three, what does that look like when the interest rate goes up? And just mess with the numbers a little bit. And where you had to create and eliminate formulas in the spreadsheet, we did that, right? Because we just wanted to figure out, hey, let's just back into the tax and insurance just in case there's multiple moving parts of what the principal and interest numbers are. Because every single month that differs, right? All right. So if you guys want to copy the spreadsheet, just go to affordablehousing.io and you guys can go to the get deal analysis tool. I got nothing to spam you. Just go to affordablehousing.io, not .com. Get deal analysis tool, put in your information, and you get a copy of the spreadsheet. That has been the fastest way of us trying to figure out how to get you guys a copy of the spreadsheet. I didn't. I do not. I did not create these spreadsheets from scratch. I had a few copies from other folks. I tweaked them, I modified them, combined them, and that allowed me to analyze the deals a lot faster in the way I want to because that's how you avoid burnout, right? You get burnt out from doing a ton of work without any return on your effort. And that can be really discouraging, and that's why most people quit. And I think if you all just spend 18 minutes a day analyzing deals, just copy my homework, right? Look at the same deal I looked at today, using the same spreadsheet, put it on your own YouTube channel. That's how you're going to create that undeniable confidence in yourself that you know what you're doing when the time comes. And that's how you're going to get over the hump when that deal comes across your table and slaps you across the face, and you will be able to recognize that deal right away. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. Hope you guys all have an amazing Thursday with your family and friends. That's what life is all about. Have a good one, everybody. I'll talk to you all tomorrow for day 272. Have a good one, everybody.